Operation Epic Fury has served as a prudent reminder of the strength of America's military. The men and women who serve this country are nothing short of exemplary. The tragic truth is that we've lost several of them during this conflict, and it's so important that we honor their sacrifice, that we support the families forever changed, that we remember freedom is never free. And someone who's made that his life's mission is actor Gary Sinise. After his Hollywood success, Sinise refocused his energy into the Gary Sinise Foundation, offering support and opportunities to service members and their families. And we sat down to discuss that vital work. Gary Sinise, I'm so excited to sit down with you. People, I think, know you best as an actor, of course, but I think that you have become known as what really your passion is, which it seems to be helping veterans, active duty military, and the families of our fallen soldiers. And I'm so curious how you found yourself down this path.
I have a lot of veterans in my family. My dad served in the Navy. My uncles were World War II veterans. My grandfather was a World War I veteran in the Army. My wife's side of the family, Vietnam veterans. So when I met my wife and she introduced me to her brothers, I started to get a little bit of an education from them as to what it was like for them to go off to war and then come back to a nation that kind of turned its back on them. And I wanted to do something to help them, so I started supporting Vietnam veterans in the 80s. Then I played Lieutenant Dan in the 90s. That led me to start working with the Disabled American Veterans Organization, supporting them in different ways. And then I felt like on September 11th, when we were attacked, that's when I started going on trips and visiting the war zones and the hospitals and playing concerts for the troops and doing all kinds of things. And that all kind of steamrolled and snowballed into the Gary Sinise Foundation.
And Gary's life's work is rooted in a family history of service.
You got my grandfather up there in World War I. That's my dad in the Navy. My Uncle Jack, who was World War II. I've got my brother-in-law, Mac Harris, who was a Silver Star recipient in Vietnam.
Wow.
My brother-in-law here, Jack Treese, who was a combat medic. And then in the 80s, I got involved with supporting Vietnam veterans back in Chicago, and I was working in theater back there.
Yep.
Then ended up playing the Vietnam veteran in Forrest Gump here. Gump led me to get involved with the DAV, the Disabled American Veterans, and then started going on USO tours. And I started a program called Operation Iraqi Children. We started sending school supplies over to the troops in Iraq, and they would take them out and give them to the kids. Some cool things here. That's the Citizens Medal. And then some funny stuff.
Yes, I feel like we have seen this as well before.
Some funny, silly things like the hair from Forrest Gump.
It's really amazing. Do you ever think about the impact you've truly had on so many people, Gary?
Well, you know, the thing that we want to do with the Education and Outreach Center, we want to teach students about volunteerism and service and all of that. When they see kind of the timeline, here's a kid down there. He's kind of a ragged kid doing theater, high school plays and everything like that. And then it kind of turns into a full service life. And we want to inspire kids to see how service and volunteerism can be very noble and give life great purpose and meaning.
Something that you also do that maybe not everyone does is you recognize the service that the families of our fallen heroes have provided our country as well. You know, a lot of times you can recognize someone for the achievements they've had on a battlefield, but back home, there's also a family.
Let's talk about like children of fallen heroes. They could be the only child in that school that has lost a mom or a dad in military service. But when we bring those kids together and we do fun things with them and we let them meet each other, it can be a galvanizing thing for the entire family to come together, knowing that there's so many other families that are going through the same thing. Every year there's new families, unfortunately. We have service members that have lost their life either through illness, combat-related suicide, unfortunately. And it can be very, very difficult, very stressful for these families to suffer this alone. But when they come into the program and they're a part of the Gary Sinise Foundation network, this massive community of people, they can go home, feeling stronger.
What would you say to people out there who are hard-pressed to talk about why they are proud to be an American?
We have a program at the Gary Sinise Foundation, and we've taken hundreds of World War II veterans down to the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, and we paired them up with high school kids. So you've got a 95-year-old guy traveling with a 16-year-old kid, and he's going to tell this young guy or gal about what it was like to serve in World War II, what it was like to defeat Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, fascist Italy. He's going to tell that young person and what he felt about it and what he felt about his country. There's no clean slate for any country on the planet, right? But America has done some great things to save the world from tyranny over the years. Certainly World War II was a prime example of that. And I've met hundreds of great heroes. I'm a kid who went to, did some high school plays and, started a theater company. And I got to do that because I'm free to do that. Somebody has to sacrifice for that.
I wonder what your message would be to our current active duty service members right now, especially in light of the fact that we already know in this conflict in Iran, we've already seen several lose their lives.
Well, I always say that we can never do enough for the men and women who serve our country, but we can always try to do a little bit more. Just letting them know how much we appreciate them, letting them know that there's a grateful nation out there, there's an appreciative nation out there. I want those people to know that we're always grateful for what they're doing for our country. We don't take it for granted for a second.
I want to acknowledge where we are right now. We are in a podcast studio that is dedicated to your son, who tragically lost his battle with cancer a few years ago. Your son was also very passionate about your mission, about the Gary Sinise Foundation. And even while he's not here right now, he is still having an impact in what you're doing.
Well, Mac, he loved the Gary Sinise Foundation. He was a musician, exceptional drummer, but a great composer and songwriter. He ended up leaving college, and then he went on the road, right? Did the road thing, going overseas and playing with bands and touring. And he started to get a bit tired of that. And so he came and put his toe in the water at the Gary Sinise Foundation. He fell in love with it, and he started to write music for the Gary Sinise Foundation. The cancer hit him in 2018. It was a terrible summer. My wife was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and 2 months later we found out that Mac had a tumor in his tailbone. Oh. And so it was a hard time. It paralyzed him, it disabled him, he couldn't play music anymore. But the last year of his life, he said, Dad, I've been thinking about this piece of music that I wrote in college, and I want to try to finish it. And he hadn't been talking about music at all because of the cancer battle. So I was like, great, do it. So he went to work on a piece of music that's called Arctic Circles that started him on a quest to make a whole album. And that's what this is right back here. Mm-hmm. Resurrection and Revival is an album that he did in the final year of his life. It went to press the week that he died. This is actually, I'll show you, I don't know, can you see that? So this is Mac in the studio. He's in a wheelchair. He had oxygen and all of that. He died 2 months after this photograph was taken. But that day, that was one of the happiest days of his life. And I know that last year of his life, 2023, was in some ways one of the best years of his life for what he accomplished. He set out to make a record. He did it. And after he died, I found all kinds of music in his files, and I went to work on a second record, and now we have a third record coming out.
Am I right that some of the proceeds come back to the Gary Sinise Foundation? The
proceeds for the vinyl all go to the Gary Sinise Foundation.
Amazing. To
support the mission, and that's what Mac wanted. We've sold almost 10,000 vinyls. Both records were among the top 10 most downloaded records on iTunes in America that week. All these big stars, and then you got Mac Sinise twice in the top 10. It was crazy. But people really, they liked the music and they liked the story of the guy who just wouldn't quit.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.